Ladies, let me tell you something real quick. Life got a way of messing with your head, doesn't it? We spend so much time trying to figure people out, decoding every little move, every silence, every word they don't say. But you know what I've learned? Sometimes the loudest answers come in complete silence. Now, hear me out. If that man stays on your mind, day in, day out, and y'all don't even talk no more, baby, that's not just nothing. That ain't random. That ain't you being weak. That's something your spirit knows before your mind can even catch up. You ever had someone sit in your mind like a song on repeat? You didn't ask for it. You didn't press play, but they just there humming in the background of everything you do. You at work, boom, he pop up. You laughing with your girls, boom, there he go again. You driven clean and trying to move on, boom. His face, his voice, his energy right there. Let me break it down to you. You ain't texting him, you ain't calling him, ain't no new Instagram story from him. No, I miss you messages. But he still got space up in your heart rent free. That's not coincidence, sis. That's a connection deeper than we feet, stronger than conversation. That's spiritual. See, when somebody's presence still lingers even after the goodbye, that ain't fake. You can fake a smile. You can fake interest. You can fake a whole relationship nowadays. But you cannot fake presence. You cannot fake the way someone wraps themselves around your soul like they belong there and that deserves your attention. You hear me? Don't deny it. Don't brush it off like you tripping, because those kinds of feelings, they don't just show up out of nowhere. They come from real impact, from moments that meant something, even if nobody ever admitted it. Now, I'm not here to tell you it's love. I ain't saying he's your soulmate, but I am saying that the mind don't lie when the soul is involved, when you think about him without trying, when he stays stuck in your thoughts without a word being said, baby girl, something got planted deep. So don't run from it. Sit with it. Understand it, because ignoring it won't erase it. Let me tell you this. Sometimes silence screams the truth you ain't ready to hear. And sometimes the person you can't stop thinking about is the one your heart ain't done healing from. The power of the mind. The mind is a powerful, mysterious force. It holds on to things long after we believe we've let them go. You can move on with your life, change your number, unfollow him, delete the pictures, and still his memory shows up like a whisper in the quiet parts of your day. You think you're over it, you think you're past it, but suddenly, without warning, his face flashes in your mind. That's not just coincidence. That's not just boredom. That's not just loneliness. That's the power of the mind trying to get your attention. See, people love to brush it off. It's just nostalgia. It's because I'm alone. No, sis, let me tell you something straight. When someone didn't mean anything to you, they don't stay. They don't echo in your heart. They don't hang out in your spirit. They fade like background noise. But when someone remains, even when there's been no contact, no closure, no conversation, that's a sign, that's a tether, an invisible thread that's still tied to your soul, pulling at you when you least expect it. And don't think it's always about romance. Sometimes it's a friend you lost. Sometimes it's someone who showed up at a crucial time in your life, someone who made you feel seen, someone who challenged you, someone who broke something inside you that nobody else ever cared to fix. Maybe you pushed them away. Maybe you never told them how you really felt. Maybe they left without an explanation, but still they're there. That presence isn't haunting you. It's reminding you. It's revealing something you haven't resolved. The mind doesn't just repeat names. It repeats impact. And when someone's impact is deep enough, it becomes part of your wiring. They become a reference point for what love felt like, or what loss felt like, or what safety felt like. Maybe they're the last person who really made you feel like yourself, or maybe they're the reason you stopped feeling like yourself. Either way, that memory doesn't lie. The connection, even if broken in reality, remains fully alive in your mind. You might find yourself asking, why can't I stop thinking about him? But that's not the right question. The real question is, what did this person awaken in me that I still haven't dealt with? Because that's the root. That's what's keeping them alive inside your head. You're not obsessed with the person. You're obsessed with what they represent. A time when you felt chosen, a moment when you felt abandoned, a chapter you didn't get to finish. It's the feeling that clings, not just the face. That's the part most people miss. They try to kill the thought by distracting themselves. New people, new habits, new cities, but no matter where you go, your mind goes with you. You can't outrun a thought you never unpack. And the truth is, some people are stuck in your spirit because there's a lesson there, a wound that still bleeds, a part of you that still needs understanding, closure, forgiveness, not for them, for you, for your peace. And let's be clear, just because someone's in your thoughts doesn't mean you're meant to go back. It doesn't mean you owe them a call or a chance or even a conversation. But you do owe yourself something. You owe yourself honesty. You owe yourself reflection. That person may no longer be in our life, but they are clearly still in your mind. So what does that mean for you? What are you still holding? Is it love? Is it pain? Is it shame? Is it regret? Let it speak. Don't drown it out with pride. Don't cover it up with distraction. The mind keeps what the soul refuses to forget. That voice in your head that keeps calling out their name, that's not weakness. That's truth unprocessed. That's your heart's way of telling you this mattered. Don't ignore it. Look closer. Because the more you ignore it, the more it grows. But the moment you face it, the moment you stop pretending like you don't still feel something, you start the process of healing. And that healing ain't about getting them back. It's about getting you back. It's about reclaiming the parts of yourself you gave away, understanding why you're still carrying this memory and deciding finally what you want to do with it. The power of the mind isn't just in remembering, it's in revealing. And if someone's still living rent-free in your head, your mind is trying to tell you something your mouth hasn't dared to say yet. Connection without communication. There's something rare and deeply powerful about a connection that survives without words. No texts, no calls, no updates, no good morning or how have you been. Just silence. And yet you still feel them deep down in places you didn't even know were open anymore. That's not ordinary. That's not just habit or memory. That's something your spirit refuses to release. That's what we call connection without communication. And trust me, when you experience it, it messes with your whole understanding of love, presence, and emotional truth. You see, most people assume connection has to be nurtured with constant contact. They think if someone's not texting you back, not checking in, not showing up in the physical world, then the bond is dead. But let me tell you, of the deepest bonds you'll ever have are the ones that never get spoken out loud. The ones that don't get the closure, the ones that didn't end with a fight or fade out with time. They just went silent, but somehow they're still breathing inside you. How is it that someone you haven't seen or heard from in months, maybe even years, can still trigger something inside you with just a thought, a random smell, a certain song, a place you both once went, and suddenly they're there like they never left? That's not your imagination. That's not you being stuck in the past. That's a connection that outgrew language, a bond that carved itself into your energy so deeply it doesn't need reminders. It lives in your atmosphere. Sometimes it's someone you never even got to fully open up to. Maybe life interrupted. Maybe timing wasn't right. Maybe fear got in the way. But in those few moments, in those few exchanges, something real was planted. A sense of understanding, of being seen, of feeling known in ways you didn't even know you craved. And when that gets taken away without warning, your soul doesn't just forget, it remembers. It wants it replaced. Because the connection didn't ask for permission to exist. It just happened. And here's the thing that no one really talks about. Communication can be deceiving. People can talk to you every day and still not see you. They can call you, text you, like your photos, and still not feel you. But that one person who said nothing, who disappeared, who went silent, they might still hold a piece of your truth. Not because they tried to, but because when they were in your life, they touched something deeper than surface level interaction. That kind of connection doesn't need maintenance. It just exists. Now, don't confuse this with obsession or holding on to something toxic. This ain't about wanting someone who mistreated you or who walked away without respect. This is about the mystery of emotional resonance. When energy meets energy and something clicks, even if just for a moment, some people come into your life not to stay, but to wake you up, to reflect a part of yourself back to you. And even when they go, the echo of that connection remains. That's real and it's rare. Connection without communication isn't just romantic either. It could be a friend you lost touch with, a soul you met briefly that shifted your whole perspective, a person who challenged you in ways you didn't expect, someone who in a handful of moments gave you more clarity than people you've known your whole life. That's what makes this kind of bond so unshakable. It's not built on time or words or constant affirmation. It's built on impact, soul level impact. And maybe it drives you crazy that you can't explain it. You don't know why you still feel them. You don't know why they still cross your mind when everything else has moved forward. But maybe you're not supposed to understand it. Maybe it's not about chasing it or fixing it. Maybe it's just about honoring that it was real, that you felt something, that you still feel something. Because this world is loud. It's full of noise and distractions and empty conversations. So when something cuts through all that and reaches your core without even saying a word, that's not weakness. That's a gift. A connection that speaks in silence is the kind that teaches you the most. It teaches you that love, energy, and truth don't need permission to exist. They just do. And when you feel that, don't run from it. Don't bury it. Let it remind you that the most powerful things in life aren't always the ones we talk about. They're the ones that never leave us. Even when the world goes quiet, why they stay in your thoughts, there are people who leave your life but never truly leave your mind. You. Try to go about your day. Focus on your goals. Surround yourself with noise and distractions, but they still manage to creep back in. You could be laughing with friends, finishing a task, or laying in bed at night, and suddenly there they are. A memory, a moment, a feeling tied to them shows up like a ghost that refuses to be buried. It's frustrating, even confusing, but the truth is they stay in your thoughts for a reason. And it's not as simple as missing them. It runs deeper than that. You see, the human mind holds on to what the heart never got to release. When someone lingers in your thoughts long after they're gone, it's not always about the person. It's often about what they represented. They symbolize something unfinished, something unresolved. Maybe it's the lack of closure. Maybe it's the what ifs that still hover around the moments you shared. Maybe you never got to say what you truly felt, or maybe you did and they didn't feel the same. That kind of emotional cliffhanger creates loops in your mind, and the brain, being what it is, will try to close those loops over and over again until either clarity or peace is found. Sometimes they stay in your thoughts because they awaken something in you no one else ever did. Maybe they made you feel safe. Maybe they made you feel alive. Maybe for the first time in a long time, they made you feel seen. And whether things ended with silence, with a lie, or with no reason at all, that feeling didn't just disappear. It planted itself inside of you. It became part of your internal story. And so when life gets quiet or emotional or uncertain, your mind brings them back, not to punish you, but to process what your heart still hasn't healed. And here's the thing. Your soul doesn't always speak in language. It speaks in energy and emotion and pull. That's why no matter how much you tell yourself you're done, no matter how many times you try to block it out or move on, they still pop up when you're at your most vulnerable because you don't just miss them. You miss the version of you that existed around them, the way you laughed, the way you opened up, the way you believed in connection. It's not always about wanting them back. It's about wanting that feeling back, that space where your heart felt full. They might also stay in your thoughts because of pain. Not every lingering memory is sweet. Some people broke you, shattered trust, left you confused, wondering if it was your fault. And because trauma sticks, the mind loops it until it's been processed, until you've either found meaning or learned how to let it go. That's why even negative memories can linger. You're not obsessed. You're still searching for understanding, for accountability, for peace. People also stay in your thoughts when they enter your life during significant moments. Maybe you were lost and they gave you direction. Maybe you were vulnerable and they became your escape. Maybe they stood beside you during your darkest time. The brain doesn't forget anchors. And if someone was tied to a major turning point in your life, even if just briefly, their impact left a lasting imprint. That's not something you can erase overnight. And sometimes you think about them because deep down, a part of you still hopes. Maybe the door never fully closed. Maybe you still replay what it would look like if things had been different. That hope, even if hidden under layers of logic and pride, still breathes. And when something still breathes, it still speaks, not always loudly, but enough for you to feel it in quiet moments. The truth is, people stay in your thoughts because feelings don't follow logic, they follow depth. You can move on in action, in routine, in responsibility, but your thoughts reveal where your heart still lingers. And that doesn't make you weak. It makes you human. You're not broken because someone still lives in your mind. You're just unfinished with what they brought into your life. Whether it was love, pain, hope, or loss, it left a mark. So when they come back in your mind, don't rush to erase it. Pay attention to it. What are you feeling? What do you still need to understand? The mind isn't torturing you. It's guiding you towards something you still need to face, release, or embrace. Because in the end, the ones who stay in your thoughts the longest were never meant to be forgotten. They were meant to teach, to awaken, and to shape the version of you that's still unfolding. Spiritual meanings behind it. When someone stays in your thoughts without explanation, without communication, and without presence, it's easy to question your own sanity. You start wondering, why can't I let this go? Why does this person still have a place in my heart when they're no longer in my life? But the truth is, not everything is meant to make sense logically. Some connections are spiritual. Some bonds are bigger than what the eye can see or the mind can comprehend. And when your spirit recognizes something your brain can't define, it leaves you restless, but not without purpose. In the spiritual world, everything carries energy. Every interaction, every relationship, every word, and every emotion holds a vibration. And when two souls meet and resonate at the same frequency, even for a moment, that vibration leaves an imprint. That's why some people pass through your life like a breeze and others hit you like a storm and never fully leave. They've touched your soul, not just your body. Their energy met yours and ignited something spiritual. And whether that connection was meant to last or not, your spirit holds on to the experience. It's not about obsession. It's not about weakness. It's about recognition on a soul level. You may have had hundreds of conversations with different people and forgotten most of them. But one look, one conversation, one embrace with a particular soul, and it's like the universe paused. It's because your soul recognized theirs. It's like meeting someone again after lifetimes apart. Something ancient wakes up. Something deep stirs inside of you. And no matter how the story ends, the impact remains. Sometimes people are brought into your life as spiritual messengers. They show up during a storm or right before a breakthrough. They come to teach you something you weren't going to learn on your own. Maybe it's about love. Maybe it's about letting go. Maybe it's about your own value, your own voice, your own boundaries. And when their lesson is complete, they often leave. Sometimes suddenly, sometimes painfully. But even in their absence, the lesson continues. Your spirit holds on to what it needed from them. That's why they stay in your thoughts, because the soul remembers what the mind tries to forget. There's also the possibility of karmic ties, unfinished business from past lifetimes, energetic contracts that were never resolved. In these cases, the connection feels intense, magnetic, even overwhelming, like something bigger than both of you is at play. These connections can be both beautiful and destructive. They force growth. They awaken your deepest wounds and highest hopes. And even when they end, they leave you spiritually altered. That's why healing from them feels like mourning a part of yourself, because in many ways, it is. The spiritual meaning also lies in self-reflection. Sometimes a person stays in your mind, not because they are your destiny, but because they're a mirror. They reflect back something about you that you've buried. Maybe they showed you your capacity to love. Maybe they exposed the parts of you still in pain. And maybe they reminded you of what you truly deserve or what you've been settling for. Their presence, even in absence, pushes you to evolve. It pushes you to ask the deeper questions. Who am I now that they're gone? What did I learn from this connection? What part of me still needs healing? There are moments when your soul clings to someone, not because they're meant to return, but because they activated a transformation in you. They were the trigger for growth, for awakening, for spiritual movement. That doesn't always come with clarity or closure. In fact, most spiritual connections come wrapped in confusion. They aren't tidy. They don't follow timelines. They arrive suddenly. They burn brightly, and they leave behind spiritual echoes that take time to process. It's important to understand that the spiritual meaning of someone staying in your thoughts isn't always about going back to them. It's about going deeper into yourself. It's about sitting in silence and listening to what your soul is trying to say. Maybe the lesson isn't finished. Maybe the